In the previous chapters, we have learned how to use Mojo programming language built-in types. In today's episode, we are going to build our own and turn those loose variables into clean concepts. The built-in data types get you surprisingly very far, but sooner or later you will want a type that models your own problem. For example, an account, an invoice, or a pixel. In Mojo programming language, the tool to define your own type is struct, S-T-R-U-C-T. It bundles the data together with the behavior that acts on it. Here's a simple example, a pair of number. There is a lot packed into these few lines. So let's take them apart piece by piece, fields up top and a constructor below. First, the fields. The data the structs hold. Two rules the compiler enforces here. Every field is a declare with a var and a type. And you don't give them values on that line. That happens in the constructor. And the strictness of the data types is not fuzziness, is there intentionally, because Mojo programming language knows the exact layout of every struct at compile time, so that it can generate tight, fast code with no runtime guessing. The constructor is named init, with double underscore on each side. Some people call it a dunder method. Those belong to a family, like in Python, everybody call them a dunder methods. And notice self uses the out convention here. Out self means this instance starts uninitialized, and the constructor's one job is to fully fill it before returning. Writing a constructor that just copies each argument into a field gets repetitive very fast. So Mojo gives you a decorator that writes it for you. It's called fieldwise-init. So for plain data holding types, this is idiomatic. No boilerplate way to go. Reach for it by default. Now let's talk about behavior. A method is just a function defined inside the struct, and it automatically receives self. Here is an account with an owner and a balance and a show method. Pay attention to this. Through self, that method can be reached in and read the instance own fields. But by default, a method can only read. It cannot change. So if you want to let it modify the instance itself, you have to mark the receiver by mutable self. Now deposit can actually move the balance. It is the same idea as the argument convention from the last time. It is read by default, mute when you mean to change it. So mutation is always opt-in and visible. Now a surprise that catches absolutely everyone. By default, a Mojo struct cannot be copied or even moved. If you wonder why this is so strict, because copying isn't always cheap or even sensible. Now picture a type that owns a huge amount of data buffer. So this is the reason Mojo refuses to do it silently. The fix for ordinary value type is easy, and the built-in copyable and movable traits. You can make an explicit copy or move ownership from the caret. Intentional or it is never going to be accidental. So remember how a plus b is really a method call. We discussed that in previous episodes. That means you can teach your own types to use the familiar operators too, like plus, minus, add, or whatever. Let's build a complex number type that knows how to add itself. Here we implement the add dunder method, and now the plus sign just works on two of the complex numbers. That is called operator overloading. There's a whole family of this. Add, subtract, multiplication for the operators, a string method to control how your value prints, and a destructor that cleans up when the value goes away. Now, whatever we have learned, let's put it all together with something real. Take an example of an invoice. It has data, an ID, an amount, whether it's paid or not. And it also has a behavior, a method to mark it paid. Data, a method that reads it, a method that mutates it, all wrapped in one self-contained type. That's the whole idea of a data structure. Now, if you're coming from the Python background, you're wondering, is it a struct, just a class with a new name? You might be thinking, okay, it's just a class from the OOPS concept. Actually, it is almost a class, but for one little deep difference. A Python class is dynamic. You can add fields and swap methods while the program runs, and it carries a dictionary to allow that. While in Mojo struct, it is always static. Its shape is fixed at the compile time, and that's the source of its speed. The compiler can pack the fields tightly, skip all the runtime bookkeeping, and resolve methods called directly instead of looking them up. Structs also lean on value semantics. So no two variables secretly pointing at the same object. No changing one rippling to another. Those are static. No spooking action at a distance. That's what the advantage of using value semantics. And you will also notice that there is no deep inheritance trees here. By default, Mojo programming language shares behavior through traits, which tends to produce flatter and more flexible design. And we are going to learn that in next episode. So carry this mental model forward, what you learned in this episode today. Reach for a struct as your everyday object. Lean on the value semantics and explicit mutable. And in Mojo, if you want to use the inheritance to share the behavior, use traits instead. Now you have learned this concept where you can frame your own problem as a type that looks like a Python, but it's going to be genuinely fast like a C language. So in the next episode, we are going to hold and reshape a lot of these values at once, and we are going to work on corrections and comprehensions.